Hey guys, it's Jason from Tag Overland, and we're here with Matt Feldermann from AEV. And today he's going to walk us through his new Chevy Colorado ZR2 Bison.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up, everyone? So this is our 2024 Colorado ZR2 Bison. This is the latest and greatest in our partnership with Chevrolet. Those of you that know our brand are familiar with the previous generation Bison, which was an awesome truck, but this one is everything that we hoped, everything we wanted the old one to be, like this one is. So just like the last generation, we have front and rear stamped steel AEV bumpers. This truck, we put in the optional GM accessory come up winch, which is really cool. It's a completely integrated system that is designed specifically for this truck and our bumper. So yeah, front and rear bumpers. Underneath, you have 5 hot stamp boron steel skid plates.
My favorite phrase.
It's a thing of beauty. Much like it's a little different, the components that they technically protect, but it's all the same area of the old truck, if that makes sense. So what we're doing on this is we have a front radiator skid that basically attaches to the front bumper. Next in line, we have an IFS skid, which basically protects the steering rack and your IFS. After that, we have a transfer case skid plate, which also now gives a little bit of protection to the transmission. We then have a fuel tank skid followed by a rear differential skid. And the neat thing as far as the aftermarket goes for these skid plates, none of them are conditional besides the front radiator skid. Everything else can be used individually on their own, and it doesn't really require another skid plate to install one like the previous generation did. So tons of protection. This truck comes from the factory with 35-inch tires. That's one of the biggest draws to this. Now to do that, we didn't raise it anymore, but what we did do is give it more room to breathe. So our fender flares, they're designed by us using that same high mark flare mentality. But the beauty is it's all done in the factory. So yeah, it's basically a factory installed high mark flare. Plenty of room for the 35. These 35s are mounted on a AEV, beadlock capable wheel. We call them dual sport wheels, but from the factory it comes with that. So those wheels can be ran as a beadlock or a non-beadlock.
And this is the first factory midsize with 35.
Yeah, this was the first factory midsize on 35s from the factory. Which is a pretty cool accolade. That's what we were all striving for in the aftermarket. So to really be the ones at the forefront of that was, an awesome experience. Suspension-wise, this truck is almost identical to a standard ZR2. It has the next generation Multimatic DSSV spool valve dampers, which are just, anyone who's been in one of these trucks, they are truly a work of art. But this generation Colorado Bison gets something a little extra, and that's front and rear jounce control dampers. Now, those are the same jounce shocks that were developed on Chad Hall's Colorado ZR2 race truck, and now they're found their way into production. So this truck is kind of eye-opening how good it is at so many different things. What else? The rock rails are factory. That's another factory component. Really solid rock rail. I have used them quite a bit already.
Yeah, I saw you guys took a pretty sweet trip a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
Moab and the San Juans.
Yes, it was a little bit of everything. You get that classic Moab technical rock crawling, and then through Colorado you have the epic passes. Just amazing scenery. It was a good trip.
It looks like you guys had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, lots of fun. But it is work, right?
Yeah.
Rear bumper. Again, this is a stamped steel rear bumper. This is really, there's a lot going on this rear bumper in how it's made. So, you know, first off, the bumper itself is comprised of multiple stampings that are all stacked up on each other to give it that like strength and just durability. But then we also tried to integrate some features into it, taking some cues from some Ram products, some Jeep products, like the skid plate that we have on the bottom of these corners. Now this is covered with a plastic guard, so if you happen to scratch up your skid plates, you know, you don't get rust and whatnot. But this is a 10 millimeter thick piece of steel on the corner of each one of these bumpers. And that is meant to be, you know, your sacrificial point, your skid point, and protect the bumper, you know, with a big heavy duty skid plate.
Yeah, it's very cool to see that coming from the factory too.
Yeah, and then just little details like the nodular iron tow hooks, and if you'll notice, they are angled up. One, that's not to impede on the departure angle, but also it helps pull the truck the right way. Right. You know, with those, the orientation of those recovery points, the truck's going to want to be pulled up, you know, as opposed to down. Then really, what else? Oh, this guy. Anyone who knows me personally or has seen any of the vehicles I've had in the past, this is like a staple, Go Fast Camper. Now this is their latest V2 Pro. So it has a lot of really neat features, or improvements, I should say. You know, little details like these latches, they're now protected. Historically, well, it's a nicer latch, but also, you know, when you're in a lot of dust, dirt, where I live in the snow, this can get frozen, it can get clogged with stuff. So having a nice heavy-duty rubber cover is like a godsend. You know, and just little details. All the end caps, everything's all CNC made now. All done in-house by Go Fast Campers in Montana. Really cool facility. You know, and then the tent itself is one of the biggest differences. They put a completely new tent assembly on there, or not assembly, but the fabric, new tent design. It's amazing. And for anyone that's looking at a Bison, you know that one of the components that we also include with this package is the vertical spare tire mount. A lot of people were concerned, will that work with a Go Fast Camper, a topper, whatever? The answer is yes, it'll work with them all. We designed this vertical spare tire mount to sit inside the bed frame, or the bed rails. So it doesn't sit on top like our previous versions, it sits in, you know, beneath. So this camper sat on no problem at all.
Yeah, it looks like there's plenty of room to spare too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's no secret with mid-sized trucks, there's just not a lot of room for stuff. So now that I have the ability to have enclosed, dry, secure storage is everything to me.
I mean, you know, a lot of people are going towards the full-size platform these days, but when you're on some of the tight trails and the stuff where you need to kind of crawl through it, the mid-size platform really does shine.
Yeah,
and having something like a Go Fast just makes it so easy to set up camp. You know?
Oh yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad a little bit maybe when I see these guys breaking down their camp. They may have other brand tents or, you know, whatever, and I can wake up and be ready to bounce in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that easy to set up too. So yeah, it's a great product. But yeah, this truck really...
I'm sure you stayed a little drier than old Sean Holman did in his... What is he?
Sean had a rough night.
A tent cot?
It was it was like a bag over a cot.
A baby bag?
But yeah, you'll see that footage coming up. But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, the goal for this truck is really to provide the enthusiasts with the absolute best turnkey truck for overlanding. You know, it is so versatile and so good at so many things. I really don't know that there's like a straight up competitor for it. But I'm in love with it. I'd encourage anyone who's thinking of getting one to go drive it. Come talk to us about it, and think that's about it, Jason.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate the time. Good to see you as always.
Absolutely.